We tend to think a prison sentence just ends, right? The day of release comes and that's it. But what really happens after that? In this explainer, we're going to dig into what it actually takes to break that cycle of incarceration and forge a totally new path.
Okay, so let's put this into perspective. Every single year, just in Virginia alone, we're talking about thousands of people being released from prison. Imagine that. They walk out of those gates into a world that's, well, it's moved on, and they're facing a future that is completely, totally uncertain.
So this brings up a really important question, one we probably don't think about enough. What happens the moment those prison gates swing open? You might think it's the end of the struggle, but for so many people, it's actually the start of a whole new one. And honestly, it's often even harder.
All right, so before we can even talk about solutions, we've got to get a handle on the problem itself. And it's a big one, often called the revolving door of recidivism.
Yeah, for way too many folks, that newfound freedom, it just leads them right back into this brutal cycle of poverty. And, you guessed it, back to prison. It's because without any kind of support system, the odds are just completely stacked against them from the second they walk out.
But what does that actually look like day to day? Well, we're talking about the absolute basics. Things like not having emergency food, or even clothes that are right for the weather or a job interview. No way to get around, no transportation. And then the big ones, no stable place to live, maybe no shelter at all. And of course, very few job prospects right away. I mean, just think about it. How is anyone supposed to get back on their feet with all that going on?
Right? If you don't have that basic foundation, a roof over your head, food to eat, a way to get to a potential job, how on earth can you even begin to rebuild your life? It's literally like trying to build a house on quicksand. It's just impossible. So this cycle keeps going, not because people aren't trying, but because they have absolutely no foundation to build on.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you give someone that foundation? Well, there's an organization in Virginia that's trying to be that exact lifeline for people coming home. They're called Belief, Faith, Fruition.
And really, their whole philosophy is right there in their mission statement. They say, we believe in a society where everyone, regardless of their past, has the opportunity to thrive. Wow, I mean, that's such a powerful idea, right? It totally shifts the conversation away from just punishment and focuses on a person's potential.
So who are they exactly? Well, Belief, Faith, Fruition is a 501c3 nonprofit, and their mission is laser-focused on empowering folks re-entering society in Northern Virginia. And listen, this isn't about just giving a little short-term help. Their goal is the big picture, successful long-term reintegration. And the way they do it is really methodical. This is definitely not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. It all starts with really thorough interviews, to get to know the person and what they specifically need. From there, they build a totally individualized reentry plan, basically a roadmap for success. Then they provide these comprehensive care packages and follow it all up with mentorship and skill building. It's this whole process designed to tackle whatever unique challenges that person is facing.
So what's actually in these care packages? We'll take a look. Emergency food, clothing, transportation vouchers, help finding a temporary place to stay, all the essentials. If this list sounds familiar, it should. It directly tackles every single one of those barriers we just talked about. They're literally going down the list and knocking out the problems that cause people to end up back in prison.
But here's the part that I think is a real game changer. It's what sets their model apart. You could call it the day one advantage, and it's all about being proactive.
Okay, so think about how this usually works. Most of the time, help doesn't even start until after someone's released. It's totally reactive, right? It's all about putting out fires and dealing with one crisis after another. But Belief, Faith, Fruition flips that completely on its head. They start their work before the person is even released. Their planning is proactive, and the whole focus is on long-term success, right from the get-go. Let me say that again, because it's so important. They are securing resources and lining up jobs well before the release date. Just stop and think about how powerful that is. Instead of walking out those gates into a big, scary unknown, a person walks out with a plan, with a job waiting for them, with the resources they need already set up.
And this goes way beyond just logistics. This pre-planning, it gives people peace of mind. Can you imagine? It replaces all that crushing anxiety about the future with actual hope, with a feeling of stability. It means they can focus on building a future, not just desperately trying to survive the first day of freedom.
And this is where it gets even bigger.
This whole proactive approach, it's not just about helping one person succeed. It's about building a much brighter future for everyone by creating a positive ripple effect.
Think about it. When you empower one person and they find their footing, that stability doesn't just end with them. Nope, it ripples outward. Suddenly, their family is more stable. Their kids have a positive role model. And you start to see these intergenerational cycles of poverty and incarceration begin to break. And that, in turn, makes the whole community stronger and more stable.
So what are the results when a model like this actually works? Well, you see recidivism rates go down, meaning fewer people are going back to prison. You see families getting stronger. That leads to safer communities for all of us. And hey, when people get back into the workforce, they start contributing to the economy. It's a win-win-win. Literally, everybody benefits.
So, this is it. This kind of proactive, foundational support. This is how you actually break that devastating cycle of incarceration. It's not just about a handout. It's about giving someone a real opportunity and a solid plan for success.
And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? We talk a lot about second chances, but what does that truly require? Is it enough to just open the prison doors and say good luck? Or is it about us as a community actually building a bridge to a new life for them, laying the bricks for that bridge before they even take their first step out? It's a big question, and one worth considering.